In JavaScript code, you will often see a conditional statement not use if-else's, but use the switch keyword. The switch statement is pretty straightforward and works very similar to if-else's, but handles executing different blocks of code based on matching an expression. Let's set it up by first creating a variable of x and assigning it the number 3. Now let's construct a switch statement. Our condition for a switch statement does not necessarily have to be a Boolean value, but rather it will match to an expression. So we can place x as a parameter for our switch statement. And notice that we use a pair of curly braces just like any other block of JavaScript code. Furthermore, we can handle different cases of what x can match to in order to execute the different blocks of code for our switch statement. So let's have a case 1 where we console.log the number is 1. We'll have a case 2, and I'm going to make sure I spell console correctly, where we console.log in the second case that the number is, you guessed it, 2. And then finally, let's add a third case where we console.log the number is 3. And as we save, we see the number is 3 message show up in our console. Fantastic, our switch statement works. Well, kind of. There's an important distinction we're missing in our switch statement. Each case in a switch statement needs the break keyword in order to finish it off. It's like the period at the end of a sentence or a semicolon at the end of a JavaScript statement. Cases need a break to complete them. This will tell the code that a match has been found for this case and it needs to stop testing the rest of the cases. We can illustrate the necessity of adding breaks by changing the x to a 1. And all of a sudden we see, yeah, the number is 1, but it also thinks the number is 2 and the number is 3 since the rest of these statements continue. Let's add those breaks now to fix this problem. So right after console.log, in the first case, we'll add a break. Again, in case 2, add a break. And finally, in the last case, add a break. As we save, there we go, we see only our first matching case logged to the console. Alright, this almost fully covers the switch statement. But before we move on, we need to discuss one last component to switch statements, and that's the default case. Switch statements allow us to execute a default case if none of our code matches the cases, so that way we always execute at least something. Add a default case to our switch now that just logs what the number is. So by default, we'll console.log the number is x. We'll break as well. As we save, everything is still working, but see, let's change this x to not 1, 2, or 3, or random case for 13, and we see the number is 13 logged to our console. Alright, if statements and switch statements will really help you build programs that can handle multiple combinations of conditions and variables. Let's move on to discovering more within JavaScript.